You gotta be flipping my flapjacks. What a stock market to be in. One moment it looks like it's the end of times. It's gonna be the Great Depression. We're all gonna lose our jobs, all stocks to zero. Next moment, suddenly, we're all going to be millionaires in the stock market. Isn't it a wild time to be in the stock market? I have a beast of a video prepared for you guys here today. Look at this. We have a lot to go through in this bad boy here today, folks. And I want to take you through exactly what's going on here. I want to show you a lot of very important things in today's video. And we're going to discuss, because I think this is important. Everybody's wondering, are we at a start of a new bull market that's forming here, where essentially we're bottoming out this market before all the bad news is in, which is what you see many times in a bottom scenario? Or is this just a fake rally we're going through here at the beginning of the year, all to be let down once again to lower lows and lower lows, just as we have been the past 18 months or so? And so that's a big issue I want to talk about in this video, because that's a serious issue that people are wondering, like, are we forming a new bull market? Is this for real? Or is this just another fake rally into a massive crash? So beast video here. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for being subscribed. First off, the big news. It broke right before I actually went to bed. I went to bed super late last night. I was listening to a Fastnell conference call. I was listening to Goldman Sachs last night as well. And Google's essentially announced they're going to lay off 12,000 employees. 12,000. Okay, this company whose net income has done this over the past 20 years or so, that company is laying off 12,000 employees. You know how bad things have to be for a company like that to lay off 12,000 employees? Okay, for a company like that, it's got to be not the best situation, right? If we look at the tech layoff tracker, it's a new record. And the big question, everybody, that no one knows the answer to right now, but the big question is, are all these companies done now, or is this just round one for many of these companies, and they still got a second round of layoffs coming, a third round of layoffs coming? That's the big question that I think we're going to get a lot of clarity over the next 6 months for, and no one can really answer that right now. So all this bad news, right? All these job losses and this and that, and you'd think we had to lose money today, right? Well, no. For instance, a public account was up $29,000 today. Public account, $29,000. And, if you're long out there, you should have made a lot of money today, right? And that's just very, very strange. All those job losses, the strongest companies in the world cutting jobs left and right? And yet, wow, it looks great for our portfolios. Some interesting things going on there, right? And you look at even Nordstrom came out after the bell yesterday, right? And they slashed their outlook due to weaker holiday sales. That wasn't a good scenario. Like, that's a scenario that shows the consumer's drying up. The consumer doesn't have the money to go out there and spend, right? That's more bad news. Like, when you see the strongest companies in the world, like Google's about the strongest company in the world, having to cut 12,000 employees, and you hear about the most well-run department store chain out there, Nordstrom, come in and say, hey, consumers don't quite got the money to spend at us, right? Even the higher net worth folks aren't spending right now. That definitely should give you some pause for concern. But the market just rolled right over that today, and it was great, right? Look at Netflix stock here today. This stock was up 8.5%. They missed their earnings per share by a mile. If you looked at their earnings, like, they weren't even close. They weren't even remotely close, right? Now, you might say, okay, so they missed by a mile. Their stock has to be down big today, right? Because the market supposedly only cares about profit now, right? That's what we've been kind of trained for the past year and a half is, the market cares about profit now. And yet this company comes out and misses their profit by a mile. It's not even close, right? And the stock goes up 8.5%. But you got to understand there's certain special stocks out there that move differently depending upon different things. Netflix, they don't move off EPS. They never have moved off EPS. I'm sure someday they will. This company, what moves their stock price, you don't want to know what it is? Subscribers. If their subscribers are up, the stock goes boom. If their subscribers are down, the stock goes down to the floor. That's the bottom line. And they came in with a massive beat when it came to subscribers. And guess what? Their stock price is rewarded. And their investor base looks past EPS miss, which was horrible. It looks past everything else. And it says subscribers beat by a lot, by I think it was almost 3 mil. That's great, right? And the algorithms look past it all, right? Because we got to understand a lot of the trading's done algorithmically now, right? And so the algorithms, they look past the EPS miss. If they're weighted toward understanding that the subscriber growth is the most important thing, then that's what it's going to pay attention to. And it's as simple as buy. And you saw that in after hours trading yesterday, right? It played out right immediately. As soon as the subscriber numbers hit, boom, the stock was up to the moon. Now, this has been an easy double since June. Easy double, right? Stock's doubled since June. I can tell you the next double is going to be a lot longer and a lot harder for this stock. This was kind of the easy, you had a capitulation type sell-off all the way down to $160 or so. And it was just an easy opportunity for anybody that has a longer term perspective to just pick up shares and make good money. And for a lot of folks that did, congrats on that. And I think you're kind of at a standpoint now at Netflix where you got to look at yourself and you got to say, should you take profits? Now, my personal opinion on this is, I would definitely consider taking profits in Netflix, and I would consider moving that into some of the other beaten down dog stocks of the kind of tech world, essentially. Netflix, I don't want to say is in a topping situation, but don't be surprised if this one tops fairly soon. And I think there's better plays out there now at this point in time than Netflix. I think Netflix I never owned Netflix in my life, and I even bought Netflix back in the summertime, and I never owned Netflix. Like, for me to buy Netflix stock, you know how bad the stock had to be? But even I was looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, Netflix under 200, this stock's easy money. And it was. And it gave great gains. But now at this point in time, it's definitely one of those you have to kind of consider, like, maybe it's time to roll this into something else, because that's a huge double up there. And the next one will be a whole lot harder, because at the end of the day, Netflix still has a lot of problems it has to answer to around these new subscribers, and if Netflix is really going to make any substantial money from them, their ad tiers and how that's going to build out and scale out, and profitability, right? So for now, they kind of got the clear, but from here, it gets into much more, let's just call it tough sledding for Netflix ahead. Now, if we pull up my big tech watch list here, Netflix was the best stock here today at an 8.5% move. But look at the risk on plays, definitely were the ones that carried things today. Look at Snowflake up 7% plus today, NVIDIA up 6.5%, Shopify up 6%. These moves were substantial. Tesla up about 5% here today. Great day for Tesla stock, right? Even though Elon Musk is, I don't know, he's in a situation here today. That's all I know. Something interesting, though. I don't know if you guys saw this. Look at the worst stock of the bunch. Apple's got much more of a mature kind of shareholder base around it, right? And, that stock couldn't even go up as much as the NASDAQ today. And you got to ask yourself, like, why? Why can't that stock make a move like that? No faith in Apple? And I think Apple just has a more mature kind of, let's call it shareholder base, and they're kind of like, let's see. We want to see Apple's earnings. And if everything looks good, then we'll go ahead and buy the stock and we'll worry about that. But if things are going to get rough here, we're not ready to jump in this one when it could be on its way down to $100, right? And so I think that's a very telling sign that's going on here, where these guys are getting all excited and maybe getting a little ahead of themselves, and Apple's saying, hold your horses just a moment. We might have another leg lower here to go, at least Apple shareholders, right? By the way, I bought new stocks in the Patreon portfolio today, so everybody that supports the channel on Patreon, go ahead and check that out. I bought 3 new stocks today. I also posted the entire portfolio there. If you want access to that, check out the pinned comment down there. In terms of my current stocks, very clear, like what's going on here, right? The riskiest risk-on plays are the ones that were screaming today, right? Google made that massive upward move because obviously they cut the employees, which is a scary thing, because now all these CEOs are seeing, oh, that's all you have to do? Just cut a bunch of employees and our stock goes up 5-6% the next day? I should do that. That's a scary component of this, I will say that, okay? But, I mean, look at this. Fubo up huge today, Revolve up huge today, Shopify up huge today, Tesla up huge today. Those are 4 of my 5 best stocks that I personally own. All those are more risk on stocks, like bottom line, right? And so that's kind of going on there. I thought that was very telling. Honest is such a steal deal. It's disgusting. Housing stocks. Look at this. They're all up. They're all green. Everything's fine. Everybody's going to go buy a new home. Give me a break, man. No. Okay? These stocks are the biggest fake out joke in the entire stock market, in my opinion. Like, it's ridiculous. Housing hasn't bottomed. Housing hasn't even close to bottomed. Like, just, it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. That's all I can say about it. It's just absolutely crazy. Absolute craziness. It doesn't make any dang sense. And it won't. It won't make any sense. And those will come back to reality. And it's going to be a harsh reality. The only good thing those companies have going for them is they still have these big backlogs. And so they're still, obviously building a lot of homes this year. And they'll make a lot of money from that this year. But the problem is, as every quarter ticks along for these home builders, their backlog and the orders are going to dry up more and more and more and more and more. And never mind if the stock market gets hit, that will cause even a bigger leg lower for all the home builders. The other good thing they have going for themselves is the stock market's holding up decent right now. But I can tell you, as soon as the stock market starts to tank in any significant way, especially the Dow and S&P, that's when even another bunch of folks start to pull back from housing. Nonetheless, it gives less confidence out there, right? Look at this move today. I thought I had to show you guys this. This is insane. Look at a firm stock. I pulled up my ecom watch list here today. Almost a 17% move for a firm stock. That's just one of those stocks that as soon as you go risk on, I mean, it's just to the moon. That's one of those stocks like if the Fed magically came out tomorrow and said they're, going to change course, let's just call it that. The stock's, going to go double up in a matter of like a few weeks, essentially. Like that's how insane a stock like that is, right? But it's out of control. That's the best way I can put it. It's out of control. It's insanity. But it is the way it is, okay? If we pull up the Cathie Wood stocks watch list I have, in terms of her biggest positions, I mean, all these babies were pumping in the moon today. Coinbase up 11% plus here today. Unity, 8% plus. Square, 7%. Teladoc, 5%. All these babies made huge moves upward today. Now, keep in mind, most of these stocks are down 60, 70, 80%. But nonetheless, I mean, just an absolutely insane move here today. Look at this. This is very interesting. Oil and gas stocks. These stocks were a mixed bag here today, which goes to show you, I feel like the oil and gas stocks is once again a little more of a mature kind of investor base there, right? It's no hype and excitement around oil and gas stocks. And these folks are kind of looking at it and like they saw the market rallying today, like, I don't know about that. The recession suddenly went away. We're not going to have any problems now. Everything's going to be okay on that. I'm not so sure about that. And so it was a mixed bag in terms of the oil and gas stocks because they look like they're just not buying it. They're just not buying this whole situation, right? Look at a stock like Winning Resorts. The stock I personally own in my dividends account. Look at Winning Resorts. This stock, just over the past few months, is up 80+%. That's insanity. I mean, that's an absolutely incredible move in a matter of a few months for Winning Resorts, right? And I used to call it Winning Resorts because it used to be a winning company, right? But unfortunately, Macau in Rona devastated them, and so it became Losing Resorts. But they're back to Winning Resorts now at this point in time. But are they really? Or is the market just getting a little too excited? Well, look at this. Macau records gross gaming revenues of $5.3 billion in 2022, down 51% year on year, which the previous year was garbage as well. That's the lowest since 2004. Macau was like, finally starting to develop something. Like, Wynn didn't even have properties in 2004. Like, Macau was a joke in 2004. And they just, Macau posted that's horrible, right? Absolutely horrible. Macau 2022 visitor tally, 5.7 million. That's the lowest in over 20 years. Over 20 years. So you have to go back to a time period when Macau wasn't even very developed back then in terms of the gaming side of the business. Like, that's incredible, right? Absolutely incredible. But here's what's actually going on, right? Folks are looking past that, and they're looking past that, and they're saying, you know what we think? We think business is coming back. We think China's going to open up for real. Macau's going to stay open, right? And you see news like this. Many of Macau's hotels are fully booked in terms of available capacity for most days for the upcoming Chinese New Year. Now, although I own Wynn stock, I can't buy Wynn stock here today. The reason I can't buy Wynn stock today or tomorrow or next week or next month is, to be quite frank, I don't trust the Chinese government. These folks have acted like they're going to open again, and then they close down things again. And and then they close again. And then we're going to close again. And so there's no like stability there, right? There's no like we're making a decision, we're going to stick by that decision. It's like we're going to make this decision and then we're going to go back on it. They're the biggest flip-flopper out there in terms of a country I've seen recently. They're flip-flopping all over the place. And it's like, how do they flip-flopping so much when it's supposed to be like, basically a communist like dictatorship basically there? Like how they flip-flop that. I mean, you'd think they have to go back and forth in these things. And so that's unfortunate because Wynn's a great company. It's very well run. They got the premier properties. I mean, we're talking 5 diamond properties. But I can't buy more of the stock because I don't trust the Chinese government and the decisions they make, because they just had a history of showing they just flip and they flop and they're all over the dang place, okay? It's tough. Look at the Alibaba, Baba stock. It's looking devilish. This stock is looking devilish. I can't buy Baba. I used to be a shareholder of Baba years ago, and if I recall, I did decent in the stock. But the issue with Baba, to be quite frank, it's a Chinese company. And, the Chinese government has just shown us time and time again, you can't trust the Chinese government. And so if you're playing anything China related, you're taking a big gamble. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't mean it can't pay off. Maybe China gets back to being practical and making good decisions again. I don't know about that, man. It's just they've screwed up too many times over the past few years. And that's why a lot of investors have just kind of stayed away. And with these sorts of moves, whether it be in a win or a BABA, we'll see if they're a reality. It's going to take more time than just a couple months. Let's put it that way, right? In terms of where we're at right now for the market, NASDAQ's down about 30% from its all-time high. As far as the Russell, is down about 24% from all-time high. S&P 500 is down 17% from all-time high, and the Dow is down about 10% from all-time high. So we've gotten some back now at this point in time, right? Remember, the NASDAQ bottomed about 7 percentage points, basically lower than where we're at right now. So we've gotten some back. Obviously, the markets have a long way to come back, but we don't know if this is really the bottom yet, and we'll speak about that in just a moment. Some other very curious things are going on out there. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up big again today. It's up 34% year to date. How many days? I'm recording this on January 20th. January 20th. So we're not even 3 weeks into the, in terms of full 3 weeks into the year, and it's up 34% for Bitcoin. That's an insane return, right? That's curious. Very curious. What about Ethereum? I always like to, look at its brother. Ethereum's up 36, almost 37% year to date. That's incredible moves. Absolutely incredible moves. And congrats to anybody that bought Bitcoin and Ethereum, in December, because you're doing very, very well for yourself, right? But that's a little strange, right? A little strange. It seems like all of a sudden everything's going risk on. Like it's like the new year started. It's like everything risk on. Risk on. Here we go, baby. We're going to the moon. And you look at a trading day like today and you pull up a heat map of stocks. Everything is just green everywhere, right? Green, green, green. I mean, it doesn't matter what industry, it's just it almost looks like algorithmic buying of just everything, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, stocks, everything, buy, buy, buy. And that kind of leads you into this thought process of like, is this a new bull market forming, or is this just simply another bear market rally? Are we just getting our hopes up to get them shattered once again? And I will answer that with this, okay? A few things. We need clarity on a few things before we can talk about the next bull cycle starting. And I'm talking about the next multi-year bull cycle, not like the next bull market for the next week or next month. I'm talking about a multi-year bull cycle. We need clarity on a few things. The first is we need clarity on the Fed. Now, do we have any clarity here? Do we have any clarity on how high they're going to take rates? Do we have any clarity on how long they're going to keep the rates there? We really don't. We think they're going to take rates into the 5s, and we think they're going to probably hold, in terms of the consensus, and when I say we, I'm talking about Wall Street, right? They believe that the Fed's going to stay there until 2024, and then at some point in 2024, they're probably going to cut, right? Now, the truth of this is we have no clarity. We have no clarity around this. These Fed folks keep talking like they're going to keep raising rates, they're going to keep them there high for long. We have no clarity on when inflation is going to come to their target range of 2% roughly and stay there, right? We have no clarity on, let's say inflation does come down to 2%. First off, we have no clarity on when that's going to happen. That could be, in terms of when that could happen, that could still be a year away. In terms of 2%, in terms of even dreaming about a 2% number, that could be a year away, right? And so there's that. And then if it comes down to 2%, let's say it's a year from now and we're at 2%. Let's say it's 9 months. Okay, that would be pretty optimistic. Say 9 months from now we're at 2%. How long does it need to stay at 2% for the Fed to say, okay, enough is enough, let's start cutting rates? Because it sounds like the Fed will not cut until they are 100% sure inflation's done. And to be 100% sure, you really need to see consistently the 2% number come in, right? So I think that's a huge factor that we still don't have clarity on, right? And I've kind of been of the thought process that Wall Street will try to force the Fed's hand. I believe I'm probably the only person that believes this in the world, but I have a conspiracy theory, let's call it that Wall Street will try to force the Fed's hands in the summer. And essentially Wall Street would tank the market, and you would see inflation continue to come down and down and down, and the market would cause the Fed to kind of make a panic decision, in my opinion, around cutting rates. And if they really hurt the Dow and S&P enough, the Fed will move based upon the market. They will move. And they haven't had to yet because the market hasn't been hit nearly hard enough. But if you, let's say the Fed's in a situation where they see inflation coming down from the 6s to 5s, 4s, and 3s by, let's say, the summer, and the market's tanking, instead of this saying down 10%, it says down 25%. Instead of this saying down 17%, it says down 27, down 37%. That's when the Fed wakes up and says, oh crap, because that's when politicians start coming in and saying, hey, you're destroying everybody's 401ks. Hey, you're destroying everybody's confidence. Hey, you're going to cause folks that are in office to get voted out of office. And then the pressure becomes too overwhelming from Wall Street and politicians combined, and the Fed has to reverse course. But that's kind of been my thought process on if Wall Street really wants this show to end this summer, essentially, right? And don't be surprised if it happens. Don't be surprised at all. But they'll need to tank the markets aggressively to get the Fed to do what they want them to do, essentially, right? No, next question. So first off, we have no clarity about the Fed right now. Second question, do we have any clarity about the economy, right? We know unemployment's likely going to start going up. We're starting to see all these layoffs coming in for tech, obviously, right? And that's just kind of the start. We're going to likely see a lot of blue-collar jobs start to be lost in 2023, and construction jobs, manufacturing jobs, in many other various industries. A lot of folks are going to lose hours as well, which is kind of like getting your job cut. If all of a sudden you went from working 40 hours to part-time worker 20 hours or 25 hours, yeah, I mean, maybe it's not as bad as getting your job cut, but it's pretty dang close, right? So if we got any clarity around when unemployment is going to start to rise substantially, how high it's going to go and how long it's going to be there, nope. We have no clue right now. No clue. That's the bottom line. So we have no clue about the Fed still. We have no clue about the economy and where unemployment is really going to go, right? And you understand, when you hurt the economy, you can hurt the economy for years. Unemployment in the Great Financial Crisis was over 8% for like 4 years. And that's a problem. The economy isn't just this 4 or 5 years, actually, I think it was. It's not just this easy thing to just get rolling and stop and start and things like that, unless you pump so much money out there. It's insane, right? Like they did in Rona. And so they were able to get unemployment down, pretty dang fast because they pumped just such a ridiculous quantity of money. That's not coming again, because we know if you do something like that again, then you're going to have this massive inflation problem again, right? So they know, okay, we can't go to that extreme. But the bottom line is, even here, they were pumping money out there. There's quantitative easing. They lowered rates pretty much down to zero again. And it took years for the economy to really get back on the right track and company earnings to get back on the right track in a meaningful way, right? And so that's the fire the Fed's playing with here, is it's not so easy that the economy just turn it on and turn it off. If you hurt this baby and you hurt it too bad, you're looking at not months, you're looking at years, multi-years of unemployment being high and the economy not being in a strong place, right? So that's a huge factor there, right? So the bottom line is, in regards to this part, is we have no clarity around the Fed. We have no clarity around the economy, how bad things are going to get. We have no clarity around corporate earnings as of right now. So the truth is, we can't think about a bull market, the next bull market forming, until we get some sort of clarity there. We don't have to have the whole picture clear as day, but we don't right now. No one can tell you with confidence where unemployment rate's going, where these company earnings are going, if they're going to trough anytime soon, right? You just can't. And you can't even say how long the Fed's going to keep rates high. So we don't have clarity around any of that, right? But what you're going to have happen out there is traders are going to trade, and the algorithms are going to do their thing, right? And so that's just going to be what it's going to be. So you're going to get these rallies, you're going to get these major sell-offs, but it's all going to add up to basically kind of like running in place. That's the best way to put it. You're kind of running in place. You're not really going anywhere. It's just giving you false assumptions that the bear market is just going to continue to roll on. It's going to give you false assumptions that we're in a new bull market. It's going to give you all these false interpretations. And if you get something for multi-weeks, it gives even a bigger false interpretation without any real reality behind it. Because we don't have too much to go off of either way, right? And even on the bear side, we don't really have enough clarity on that side either to really say where things are going. Like if everybody was confident unemployment's going to 8%, 10%, the market would sell off massively more. If everybody was confident company earnings are going to go down in 2023, then we would see a massive drop in the market. But even there, you don't have clarity there right now, right? And so that's a really tough thing. Now we're going to start to get some sort of clarity this coming week, because this coming week you've got a lot of earnings on deck. Baker Hughes, 3M, Capital One, you got D.R. Horton, Home Builder, General Electric, Halliburton, Johnson & Johnson, Lockheed Martin, defense contractor, right? You got Mr. Softy, Microsoft, Raytheon, Texas Instruments, Union Pacific. That's one of those, you want to know how the economy is, pay attention to Union Pacific earnings. Tuesday, you got Abbott Labs, AT&T, Boeing, CSX. You want to know how the economy's doing? Listen to CSX earnings, okay? You have Progressive. You have Tesla, reporting. What do they have to say? That's going to be a big one there. Everybody in the private stock group, make sure you check out the latest video I posted in there. We were talking about, obviously, Tesla earnings and kind of what's going to happen there, okay? You got Blackstone Group. You got Comcast, Dow, Intel, MasterCard. Another one of those companies, you want to get some sort of intel on how the economy's doing, pay attention to MasterCard's numbers and if they give any guidance out there. Nucor, Sherwin-Williams, one to keep an eye on. Visa, American Express. All these companies. This is a big week, man. This is a big week. The next 3 weeks are everything for this market. And right now, you can't really jump to any conclusions around where this market's headed until we get these earnings over the next 3 weeks. The thing I don't like about what's going on here with this whole earnings situation, I'll be honest with you guys, okay? The thing that scares me is I do not like a market that is rallying into earnings. You're setting yourself up for downside. It's pricing in too much good stuff. And I usually like it if my stocks or the market in general is selling off into earnings, right? It's just a different mentality. But now, all of a sudden, the market's going up, everything's looking good, and now these companies are going to be expected to come through good numbers, and I don't think these companies have good numbers to report to us. I don't think these companies have good guidance to report to us. So what do you think is going to happen to their stock prices over the next few weeks, right? But as a long-term investor who's looking to scoop up shares, you could definitely potentially get some opportunities over this next few weeks, right? Which is some kind of food for thought there, okay? So the bottom line is bull, bear, we don't have clarity on either side. Right now, it's just traders trading around money, sloshing money back and forth. As a long-term investor, you have to just focus on adding positions that are significantly discounted. Don't get too excited that we're in a new multi-year bull market. It's not that time yet. We could get that time soon. When I say soon, I'm saying at some point this year, but it's not that time quite yet. Okay, so don't get your hopes up too much. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, if you're looking to join us on Patreon and support the channel and also get access to the new stocks I just bought a couple hours ago, check out the pinned comment down there. Much love and have a great day.